Night story. When I was in university, I stayed with a cousin in a house we rented together. It was even cheaper than paying for a room in a boarding house. We had our own space, comfort, a kitchen, a room for each of us, and we could have friends over anytime. It was during one of those gatherings that something happened to us that scared us quite a bit. My cousin has a friend, or had, I don't know if they still talk. Well, this girl supposedly knows spiritual things. She reads palms, interprets dreams, knows prayers for specific things. I didn't believe in any of that stuff. It always seemed like charlatanism to me, inventions to fool gullible people and scare them. But that time, I completely changed my thinking. Well, as the saying goes, you shouldn't believe in witches, but they do exist. So, that day they were studying with another guy for a midterm they had the next day. I was in my room finishing my statistics assignments, which had my head spinning. Besides, I couldn't concentrate because I had an unbearable migraine that made my eyes burn. These attacks would hit me out of nowhere, so strong that sometimes they made me cry. Well, at some point, I remember I went out to get some water and stand on the little balcony for some fresh air. That's when I got a sharp, electric shock-like pain in my head that made me groan. I grabbed the railings tightly and curled up my body. I thought I was going to faint. My head felt hot as if someone was pulling my hair. At that, my cousin noticed and got up worried to help me, and she told her friends to help take me to my room. When her friend saw me, she said, "Wow, but she's really bad off. Something is bothering her, like something?" I asked within the little I could speak. "No, she's suffered from migraines since she was a little girl," my cousin told her. "No," the girl said, "that's not an illness. She was given something a while ago." "Enough with your invention. Can't you see the girl is feeling sick and you're going to scare her?" the guy told her. But the girl insisted that yes, I had something put on me. "Well, the thing is," she told me supposedly, "give me your left hand. Squeeze it tight. You're going to breathe deeply with your eyes closed." I don't even know why I listened to her. The other two just stood there watching, thinking nothing would happen. Suddenly, she puts her hand on my head and says 3 times in a row, supposedly, "Find your way, you are not welcome here." Then she said 3 words, all strange, and mentioned a name I don't remember now. Look, that was a very strange sensation, as if a coldness ran down my entire body. I opened my eyes and was as if nothing had happened. My cousin was astonished. I didn't understand it either and couldn't believe it. It was as if a pressure had been lifted off me. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel my head throbbing. "What was that?" my cousin asked the girl. "A liberation," she said. "But you have to go to a church as soon as you can because it's bad to remove magic with magic. Besides, you are baptized," she warned me. They went back to what they were doing. No one asked her anything. We just stood there looking, thinking how absurd it was that she talked about that so naturally when it was so strange for us. Maybe we didn't say anything out of embarrassment or fear, I don't know. I spent the whole night thinking about that, and the next day after class, I went to a church that was nearby, following the girl's advice. Look, when I explained to the priest what had happened, that man gave me a sermon for like 40 minutes about how I had exposed myself like that, why I hadn't gone to a church, why I didn't pray instead, that those things were portals that open and aren't easy to close. He almost told me I had one foot in hell and the other on earth. "Come on," he said, "take the Bible." He made me sit in the first pew and had me read several times and out loud Psalm 59. I thought it was some kind of penance they give, but it was more than that. By the 3rd time I was reading, I didn't understand anything of what was written in the Bible. The words were as if they were choking in my throat. My head hurt in an incredible way, and I don't know why I started to feel fear, a fear I had never felt before. It was as if my body was reacting instinctively to the stalk of a dangerous beast. I ended up hunched over in the pew, crying and telling the priest I couldn't keep reading, that my whole body hurt every time I said one of those words. And it was true, my stomach burned every time I tried to articulate any phrase from that psalm. What the priest did was put his hand on my head and continue with the reading. About 5 minutes passed and I started to calm down until I felt better again. It was weird because it was as if I had come back to my senses without realizing it. I didn't even remember very well what had happened in the last 40 minutes, as if it had all been a strange dream. The priest lifted my face and told me in a concerned tone, "This is not good at all. You have a binding and it seems it has been with you for a long time." He explained to me that those things are put on children without them knowing by malicious people with so-called Aseguranzas, bindings/attachments. Those are actually doors to possessions, he told me. The only true Aseguranza that works is prayer. You are going to take as a task reading this psalm and other passages, and I want you to think of yourself and the people you love most every time you read them. You also have to talk to God and ask for His forgiveness so He can heal you in what you need. I will be here. "I know you can handle this because it's clear you are a good person," he told me. Imagine, I returned home extremely worried. I couldn't concentrate in classes. My mind was always elsewhere. That week I lost about 4 kilos because I stopped eating well. I turned pale, dark circles almost covered my face, my hair was a wreck, I was a lost soul. One night, I was reading the psalm before going to sleep for the first time in all that time. I found the strength and will to concentrate and understand every word of what I was reading. Previously, I couldn't do it. I would read, but my mind would go elsewhere. It was as if something prevented me from processing each of the words. In the end, I would end up tired and collapse on the bed. But that time, determined, I began to read. Immediately, the faces of my parents, my younger sister, my grandmother, the people who were important to me, came to my mind. I kept reading and reading. When I had about 2 lines left, I felt a strange heat surrounding my legs. I tilted my head forward without fully raising my gaze, lowered the Bible a bit, and I see in front of me some pale, thin feet, like those of a malnourished person, all bone and skin. I didn't do anything. I didn't dare do anything. I brought the Bible closer to my face to finish the psalm and repeat it, but when I tried to resume, I didn't understand anything. I made the effort and the words wouldn't come. They were like scribbles, like a strange language. At one point, I heard a creaking sound. I moved my eyes to the side and saw that what was in front of me had crouched down. Its face was right below the Bible. I could feel its eyes behind it. I was there, paralyzed, my hands shaking, wanting to run from there but unable to. I don't know how I caught a breath, and I remember I said this phrase, "Lord, give me the strength I need." I lifted the Bible again toward my face and began to read the psalm from the beginning, out loud, almost shouting. My cousin got scared hearing me. I felt her touching the door, which was about a meter away from me, but the sound was dispersed as if it were very far away. The strangest thing is that the latch on that door didn't work, but she says it was locked and she couldn't get in. When I finished reading, all I did, almost impulsively, was kneel and ask God for forgiveness for all my actions, for those of my parents and for those of my ancestors. I don't know where so many words came from. It was like a river flowing uncontrollably from my mouth. Suddenly, the air in the room changed completely. My cousin came in crying, hugged me, and stayed there with me in bed. I told her, almost choking on my tears, that there was something there with me that wanted to harm me. And right where I had seen the person, there were 2 black footprints, as if someone with wet feet had stood there. It was one of the most horrible things I have lived through. The priest helped me a lot in the recovery process. It took me almost a year to regain my weight and my appearance from before because in a matter of 2 weeks I had become unrecognizable. From what I understood from other priests, a binding had been put on me as a child, and that had hosted an entity that wasn't too strong, which was what caused my migraines. But when it was removed, and in such a poorly done way, another entity arrived to replace it, and that was the one that almost killed me.